There are a number of different tools in Kali that can be used to verify the service running on any given port. The first one I want to discuss is Netcat. Use NC-H to see the different uses of Netcat. Netcat is an extremely powerful tool that can be used to communicate using TCP and UDP connections. By using Netcat to connect to TCP services running on a remote system, the systems will often reply with an automatically pre-configured response called a banner. This banner will sometimes contain useful information that can be helpful in identifying the service running on that port. Now first, I'll run a port scan on our Metasploitable machine to see what ports are currently open. Then using some of those different ports, we'll go ahead and try to connect with Netcat and perform banner grabbing. So to do this, we'll enter NC-V for verbose, and then enter the target IP address and then the port number that you want to attempt the banner grab on. So we'll start with port 21. And as you can see, that then returns confirmation that the FTP service is running on port 21 and also identifies the version running on that port. Next, let's try the same command, but this time on port 22. And in this case, we get the same thing, the version of SSH that's currently running on this port, and also operating system information about the host system that's running the service. Same thing with port 25. And here we get similar information, in this case even to include the fully qualified domain name. As you can see, banner grabbing with Netcat will often yield very useful information to include the service running, the software that's providing that service, to include version type, and sometimes even host operating system information. This can be extremely helpful later when searching for vulnerabilities on the system. Dimitri was a tool that we had previously introduced for host discovery, but it can also be used to identify services. If we enter Dimitri into the command line to look at the uses of the tool, you can see that there's also a -P option to perform a port scan, and a -B option to perform a banner grab on any of the ports that are scanned. So if we use the command Dimitri-PB, and then specify our target system, the result is a list of ports that are currently open on that system, and any interactive banners that it can grab from the services running on those ports. AMAP is another tool that can be used to fingerprint services. You can enter AMAP into the command line to see the various uses of this tool. And before running it, we'll run a real quick nmap scan to verify the ports that are currently open on our target system. And suppose that you want to verify that the service running on a particular port is actually the native service. We can run AMAP, then -BQV, which is banner grabbing in verbose mode, then specify our target system, and then specify the port that you want to verify the service running on. So in this case, we'll do port 23. And what it does is it matches the banner that it grabs up against a list of signatures in order to, in this case, verify that the service running on port 23 is in fact Telnet. So those are some tools that can be used in Kali in order to identify services running on a remote system.